You guys. I wanted to make a face-to-face video. My name is Mike. My channel is Router. I came up with that name a gazillion years ago just because it was just different, and but there's no connection. It has no meaning. So I just figured I'd throw that out there for you. I just wanted to come on and I wanted to say thank you to all my subscribers. Even though it's a small subscriber base, I still appreciate you hooking up and saying your comments and everything else. And I just wanted to talk for a second about like one of the reasons that I came on and I made these videos is the OBDII videos. I've always been interested in OBDII. My entire career, I've been a software technician. I started out as an electronics technician. I turned into a software developer. Seemed like a little easier, cleaner. You sit on your ass all day long. So everything was great. And what happens is around 2020 with this what they call the pandemic, which really was just the CDC is telling us today, well, a couple days ago, the CDC saying, look, don't worry about COVID. It's pretty much the flu. Do whatever you got to do for the flu. You don't have to separate. You don't have to do anything. You just do the same thing that you did with the flu. Now, people like me back in 2020, we're saying the same thing. And there are people saying, I hope your family dies, and I hope you die, and I hope you suffer. All kinds of evil stuff coming from people who felt that I should sort of jump into that bandwagon. And the thing is, I didn't care about vaccine. I came very close to getting that vaccine, actually, just because of the job situation. But when I started looking into it, and I started to see this was a completely different situation. I have another video on mRNA vaccines and why mRNA is so different than your classic vaccine. About 10 years ago, I went to Abu Dhabi for work. They sent me to the doctor. I didn't even know the doctor. The doctor gave me 2 shots, at least 2 vaccines, maybe 3. I don't know. It was definitely at least 2 to go travel off to the Middle East. No problem. So I'm not I've never been an anti-vax guy. My dear brother, who has since passed away, was a doctor. One time I was looking this way at my house, and he sticks a needle in my arm for the flu shot for some year. I don't know. We're going back very far. So no big deal. I didn't even worry about it. I didn't care. I never cared about that. I'm like the kind of guy who said, I'd rather just get sick than get the vaccine. Along comes COVID, and everybody turns into a maniac. One thing that we learned about COVID is how normal citizens in a so-called civilized society can become absolutely, what's the word? I'll let you fill in the word. Something overcomes them, or they've given themselves over to something else. Anyway, when I started getting this push, this crazy push from, then I started becoming resistant. Okay, so now I'm all of a sudden, fill in the words. You know what the words they use. I'm all of these bad things because I didn't want a damn vaccine. I didn't need a vaccine. I'm ready to get sick. And I tell you what, the more you listen to, when I work, I play podcasts and things. So the more you listen to the MS, I remember the scaredest I got during that pandemic, I was listening to, I think it was ABC, just one of them, ABC News, not like, the people complain about. And they were just talking. I remember during that, while I'm working, I was having to think, so I had better update my will. I better get my will straightened out. And then I'm starting to think, geez, what's it like to die from? All this stuff started going. I'm working on my software, and all this stuff starts coming through my mind. I'm like, so I turn it off. But that's the worst it ever got for me. But I could see if you were listening to this stuff all day long, and the people that you're surrounded with are all the same thing. I could see how in a herd mentality you would rush to get that vaccine. Now we know that the vaccine, it's not effective and it wasn't safe. We know it's not safe because of what we're seeing in terms of the studies, that the margin of safety is so, the margin of danger is a lot larger than we thought it was. And there's a whole situation where it's like, who knew what and when did they know it? For example, that mRNA, when they vaccinate you, you're supposed to sit in your arm, be there about 5 days, your body develops immunity based on that. And then remember they told us you would not get any symptoms because it wasn't the virus at all. It was just a protein from the virus. So they sent this basically software signal into you, an mRNA. mRNA defines a protein. send mRNA in from some DNA exterior. I mean, you can get into like what's wrong with this. My other video gets into the details of that. So whatever. It wasn't for me. Well, all of a sudden, well, that's the end of my software career. That's the end of. I had a job with a company called Transamerica. They had onboarded me. I mean, right in 2020, right off of my contract from Verizon, and I got hired to work for this company. Transamerica was supposed to start in February. It was like maybe a month without work, and they kept sending me, have you gotten your vaccine yet? Have you gotten your vaccine yet? And then somebody was like, well, you can just say NA. Well, I always said NA because I'm not going to lie. Maybe I should have lied. I probably should have lied. Well, I find out about a month, after the start date. Well, they decided to stop the project. They didn't stop the project. They didn't like that I wasn't vaccinated. Fine. So I go a couple more months. Now I haven't worked in a couple months. And I get this job at this company called Spectratel here in New Jersey, which is basically they rent servers from Verizon and then sell telephony. Oh, well, I was in the bathroom washing my hands one day. Some dude is over here with his mask on, and we're talking, and he's over there. And I'm like, I don't have a mask on. And I'm like, hey, man, don't worry about it. You don't have to wear a mask. Now, I'm stupid. I'm still thinking people are intelligent, Well, this guy, apparently he was a gay guy, and he was wearing his mask for protection, and HR, you go into HR, you find relatively heavy, short-haired looking, it's like, okay, I know where I'm at. I'm the bad guy, immediately the bad guy. So they fired me for not wearing a mask without a vaccination, even though New Jersey had gotten rid of these mandates by that time. And so there was another job. So here's a job you work for 4 months. Another job, I guess I could say I worked for 2 months because I had my login for the hours. I didn't enter any hours, but I didn't find out that the job really didn't exist. And so this is kind of garbage, right? So after that second job with Spectratel, I decided, I will just play with OBDII. Apparently none of these companies are going to deal with you if you are not vaccinated with this experiment. So that's when my OBDII stuff started. And I actually started working on that before I left one of my last jobs. So, I decided to just do something I hadn't done. See, when you do software, a lot of times you go into a big company and you write on software and you put your heart and soul into it, and then it's like, well, we're throwing that software away. So it's hard to take a lot of pride. Like if you see people who work on things and especially mechanical things, or like people who do body work on a car, right, or make nice woodwork. It's like you see a nice aesthetic and you feel good about that. It's hard to get that when you do software in a large company because you're doing a small fragment of a large thing. So to do the OBDII by myself, of course with input from people like you, it was much more enjoyable. And that software still exists. You can get it. It's on Google Play and all that stuff. This is not about my software. It was really nice to be able to develop that. But here, I'm a couple of years out, right? And, I'm definitely nowhere near the resource. I don't have the resources I had a couple of years ago. And now the CDC comes out and says, we were just fooling you. We were just fooling you. If you fired people and believed us and got vaccinated and injured and all this, sorry, it was only as bad as the flu. So who should you have listened to? Well, actually, you should have listened to yourself. My problem is, you get people who believe in God and get people who are atheists, and I'll say, you know what? I believe in God and I'm an atheist, okay? In terms of that vaccine, my atheist side said, well, I have an immune system that's been developed over the past couple 10,000 years. It's pretty damn strong. I feel strong about that, right? So that's my atheist inside of me. And then the God person inside of me is like, look, man, you're in this life for, the crazy God stuff. So have faith in that. But there's no logical reason, no matter how hardcore scientific, and remember that, the science. Now the science is coming in. Now the real science is coming in, and it's not good. It's not good. Embalmers, blood clots, the effectiveness, the fact that you know, it's funny because my brother has 5 Bruce boosters and my niece has 3, at least last that I talked to them. And when they tell you, it's funny when people with this treatment, they come up to you and say, I had 5 boosters. And there's no problem. And my other colleague that I knew, he has like 3 too. They'll come up to you and say, well, I got 3 boosters and nothing happened. Dude, you got 3 boosters and nothing happened, right? I mean, it's supposed to say like, look, nothing happened to me. I took this experiment and I fared okay. That's insane. To me, that's insane. Look, I got COVID and I'm fine. You could have gotten COVID too and you'd likely be fine. No, but we had to start injecting the kids, which we know had like zero, like the rate of fatality. Okay, I'm getting into the weeds. I'm just complaining because our society has lost its mind. It's lost its freaking mind. It's no longer is 1 + 1, 2, and then 2 + 2, 4. No. It's like whatever you want, man. It's whatever you want. This vaccine, you know, a vaccine in the past used to inoculate you. Inoculate you, meaning like if you had you worried about polio or the flu or chicken pox, if you got the vaccine, then you will be inoculated. You will not catch these. I mean, there's a very small amount of people that actually get sick after the vaccine, but that's sort of its own case because you're fine. It's not in the environment. You get a vaccine, and you know, like I heard somebody say, "Oh, everybody from polio gets it from the vaccines." Trying to say vaccines are bad. Vaccines are not bad. Vaccines are good. Vaccines are good. Okay, so sometimes when you get a vaccine, you actually get the virus, but it's, you know, developing as a pathogen inside of your body, growing. That is not the standard way that things work. However, the COVID vax doesn't inoculate you at all. There is no protection from, you get inoculated, and then what's the thing? Oh, well, it's pretty much as good as cold medicine because it'll reduce your symptoms. Dude, a vaccine is not supposed to reduce your symptoms. A vaccine is not supposed to reduce the severity of the illness. A vaccine is supposed to inoculate you to well, what we used to call vaccinate you meant inoculate you, meant give you your body a preview of the virus so that it could catalog it and then you wouldn't get sick from the virus. That isn't at all what COVID does. And COVID, and then they inject you with an mRNA, which is the whole purpose of mRNA, is to go into your body and start producing proteins. And now we found that the mRNA is contaminated with DNA. Now, does that matter? I'm not a doctor, obviously, but some doctors say yes, some doctors say no. I've heard, well, okay, the fact is that they didn't say it until after everybody had the vaccine. Oh, by the way, it's contaminated with all this DNA. Now, RNA is a copy of a strand, of a short fragment of a longer strand of DNA. So I don't know. Is there any interaction between the DNA that was contaminated in your mRNA vaccines? And does that lead to some crazy because mRNA creates proteins. They're trying to tell you all it created was a spike protein. I think what we're going to find out, and this is just my opinion, my speculation, but what we're going to find out is this mRNA ended up creating a whole bunch of different other proteins. Some of them mutated, some of them frame shifted, but certainly proteins your body didn't need to have. And now we're seeing people with these amyloid clots, which are like really not dissolvable. Research yourself. Research yourself. I just wanted to come in and complain because this has really been a bug for me. Because they're trying, you know, if you're wondering why things are so, you know, if you talk to, there's a situation in the country where productivity is dropping off and they don't know why. It's because you fired all your best people. It's because, do you think that your best people in your company are going to say, yes, please, give me the vaccine, I will do whatever you say? Do you think the best people, your best engineers, your best managers are ready to say, yes, I will do whatever the lady in HR who's really like woke, I'll do exactly what she said. You think your company's going to run the best when those are the people and you kick out you kick out people who say, no, I'm responsible for this body since I was born until my death. My job as a being is to protect my body from bullets, weather, burns, and ridiculous experiments if I can. All right. My brother, my weak-ass brother said, Michael, you're so negative. Shut the fuck up. All right. So, all right. So I just wanted to rant. That was a little bit of a rant, right? It's pretty exciting. I'm not sweating, but Anyway, I figured I'd come up in front of this camera and say something. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and I don't know. Thanks for letting me rant. And I'm looking for the stop record button here, but I think we're pretty much done for this nonsense today. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you guys so much, man. There's some technical stuff in my other videos. It's probably more interesting than this. Is like the kind of thing you eat a hamburger to, and a beer or something, or like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I do. I appreciate it. I said it like 20 times, but it's because that's how I feel. I'm looking for the record button because this mouse like falls asleep and stuff. So, or the stop record, some damn thing, because you know how it is. All right. So, do I see it over there? I think I got it. Catch you guys next time.